All right. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Braden Weecroft here, Coach B. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. I know, look at the couple days of June, the sales stats, at least in the Victoria Real Estate Board, have shown that we've had a pretty significant rebound to the market. This session today is one that is very exciting for a number of reasons. One, we're going to be hearing from one of our very own, JaneJohnston, who is currently year-to-date, I don't want to make her blush, but she is number 33 for individual agents year-to-date for REMAX of Western Canada, which is pretty outstanding. We also have her colleague from, the master trainer, Stephanie from Bank, who's going to be talking to us a little bit about how this program works. And really, if I could set this up for you, why you should watch today and why you should be taking notes, is that if you change your words, you'll change your worth. That's a saying that I use in the marketing of this session. And it's really, I do believe it to be true. I think we take our communication skills for granted, whether it's in negotiations or listing presentations or even just conversations with our colleagues around the office. And one of the things that Jane blew my mind with when she first introduced me to the idea of bank personality profiling is that, it's one thing to get really skilled in the way that you like to communicate. It's entirely another thing and even more powerful to understand how other people like to be communicated with, and then curtailing and presenting your content in a way that they are best going to understand it and take on that information. So Jane and Stephanie are going to do a much better job in presenting this than I am. And so I'm going to just turn over the wheel to Jane here so she can introduce Stephanie. Jane, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for joining us.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Stephanie Bonte-Lebair is she's a master trainer, and she is the director of professional development for CODEBREAKER Technologies. She and I have known each other since 2015 when we were managing directors for eWomen Network. And I focused more on real estate, and she focused on this. And I've come back into the fold because we have some exciting new developments happening with Bankcode. Bankcode is the name of the program we use to determine what your personality profile is, and then how you can help your clients by determining their personality profile and by speaking in a way that they listen. So we're going to be doing a presentation today. It's going to be about an hour. We're going to talk about the methodology, why you want to learn this system, and then we're going to also talk about how it relates to how you present yourself. So Stephanie will talk about that. She's a professional speaker and actress and vocal coach.
Yeah. Don't worry, I was worried too, Jane.
And then I will be helping out regarding the real estate side of things. So please welcome Stephanie Bonte-Lebair.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Jane. Thanks for the intro. Thanks, Braden, for having us on today. I'm excited.
What's your official title?
My official title is I'm the Director of Training and Leadership Development for CODEBREAKER Technologies. So I work with about 150 trainers around the world in helping them teach this methodology and get better at building their trainer businesses.
And Stephanie's in the United States. She's in what area exactly?
I live in Maryland, right outside Washington, D.C. So yeah, lots going on over here on the East Coast, which is why we need this communication training more than ever.
Absolutely.
So yeah, out here to heal the world. That's what our mission is.
Well, I will excuse myself from the broadcast. I won't be far. I will be watching. For those of you who are watching right now, please throw in some questions. We may answer them as we go or save them to the end. We don't know yet. We're just kind of winging it here a little bit. But Stephanie, you've put together an incredible presentation for us. So I'm going to bring that on screen, and then I'm going to grab the popcorn and enjoy the show.
Awesome. I want popcorn. Good idea.
All right.
All right. So as I mentioned, I'm the Director of Training and Leadership Development for CODEBREAKER Technologies. So here's our company logo. And we are considered the world leader in personality coding technology. And I'll explain what that means as we go through our presentation today. Let me just make sure my clicker is working. This presentation is called Why They Buy. And I think the most important point I want to make here is that I think all of us have had some kind of sales training along the way. I'm sure REMAX teaches you all kinds of sales training, techniques and tips. And so instead of focusing on how to sell, we say, why don't you focus on why people buy? What is it that they care about, and how can you tune into what they value so that you can create more influence? So this presentation is all about unlocking the secret, the science, and the system to supercharging your sales. So I'm actually a lifelong singer, performer, and actress. I have been singing ever since I was 3 years old. I have my master's in voice, minor in speech pathology, moved to New York City after my master's degree and performed in New York in operas, musicals, cabaret. I've done dinner theater, I've done amusement park performing, and then I moved to Maryland when I met my husband, who works for NASA, and have been living in Maryland for the last 16, 17 years almost now, and have performed in lots of local theater companies. I've written my own musical. So I love the arts, and I've been a communicator my whole life. I mean, when you're a singer, you are a form of professional communicator. And so this particular methodology was a complement to what I was doing as a singer and an actress. I could take a script and help deliver it from the stage with power and presence. And now this tool is how to write the script. How do you choose the words that you're going to say to someone so that they can best understand it and take it in? And my bank code is ANKB, which is Action, Nurture, Knowledge, Blueprint. And we're going to walk you through what all of those mean today. So here's just a couple pictures of me. This is my a cappella group on the left. I have a group called Drop the Mic, and there's 9 of us actually in this group. This is just a portion of us. And then I wrote my own musical a couple of years ago called Stage Dreams, a Musical. And I wrote 9 original songs. It's a story of me and my journey as a performer. So just wanted to give you a little sense of who I am.
And my name's JaneJohnston. I'm a realtor with REMAX Johnston here in Victoria, British Columbia. I am an award-winning realtor. I have been chairman for 3 years, platinum 1 year, and I have the lifetime achievement, which I got in 2 years at REMAX. I'm also into coaching. So I coached speed skating. I came to real estate from teaching. I was a phys ed teacher, and I believe in giving back. So I've been working with young kids, coaching them in speed skating, and also coaching adults in Learn to Row. And I'm a competitive masters rower. And recently I just got nominated to be on the board to Habitat for Humanity in Victoria. I have a master's degree as well. It's in leadership at the University of Victoria, and I'm also a certified negotiation expert. And I just want to point out that these are all in a certain order because each of the colors here relate to the qualification we have to teach, right? And I'm
Yes.
an AK NB. Okay, and these, so on the left is me getting my award at the REMAX conference are for a couple of years ago, my little kitties who I coach, and then family is very important to me as well, and that's them on the right.
I totally want to come out and visit you and do some speed skating. I love that. So as a high-level introduction of bank, I want you to consider this method as a language. So just like you might speak more than one language. Maybe you speak English and French, or maybe you took Spanish in school or some other language. It takes time to learn a second language. When we learn a second language, first we learn vocabulary, and then we learn how to read it, and then how to hear it, and then how to converse back and forth is usually the last step that happens. So today in this presentation, we're going to give you some vocabulary. We're going to have give you some sales tips. We're going to give you some marketing tips on how to choose different words that have different meanings to different personality types. And just know that there is more to it than what we will share in this webinar. And we will also let you know what a potential next step would look like at the end of this if you'd like to learn this language at a deeper level. I like to start by sharing my financial story when I talk about bank, because I believe it gives me authenticity. Anytime you're in sales, usually you have been where your client wants to be. And so you are that person that's like reaching out the hand to help guide them in their direction because you've been there and done it. So when you're in sales or communication sales specifically, hopefully you have a success story of how you have been able to communicate more powerfully and then what results that has led to. So for me as a singing teacher, because that's how I started as an entrepreneur, was teaching voice lessons, I learned this methodology first to incorporate it inside my singing business. I wanted to help attract more singers to my business and sell coaching packages. And I also started working with business owners on how to present for business, how to stand up in front of a room and be confident, how to choose the words on the fly if needed to be able to be charismatic in front of a room. And so those coaching packages range from several $100s to several $1,000s, depending on how long you wanted to work with me. When I learned this methodology, it took me about a year to really start feeling like I was speaking the language consistently. And when I did that, I went 30 days without a no. I want you to ask yourself, if you had every single prospect that was looking for a real estate agent, if every single one of them in a 30-day period said yes to you instead of no, would that change your life? Would that change your business? And for me, it absolutely did. I was able to close an extra $10,000 worth of profit into my business in 2 weeks. This was like the last month of the year. It was December of that year when most businesses were shutting down for the holidays. Every single person was saying yes to me. I made an extra $10,000 in 2 weeks. And then 2 months later, I had a live event where I was able to bring in $50,000 in revenue in a day. It says 30 days here because it did take me, I had to close a couple loops along the way, but basically that one event led to $50,000. So I know that this works because I have proof for myself that it worked for me in my business, and that's why I like to start by sharing that so people understand my journey. I don't know about you, but if you've ever heard the phrase that sales is a numbers game and that in order to get more yeses, you need to get more no's. Okay, I think we've heard that. This is the biggest myth in sales that has ever been told. Because you don't need more no's to get more yeses. You actually need more yeses to get more yeses. That's logical. That makes sense. So we have a proven, a scientifically validated way actually to determine yes behavior and help you get more yeses instead of no's when you're communicating. So the secret to sales is it's not a numbers game. It's actually a people game. We do business with people, and it's all about connecting and really understanding who people are. This is a 25-year-old statistic from the Challey Group that says only 18% of buyers will buy from a salesperson who doesn't match the buyer's personality type versus 82% success when personality types are aligned. I like to call this the know, like, and trust factor. It's not that you have to have the same personality as the person in front of you, but they need to feel that you understand them. And that's really what good communication is all about, is do you understand? Can you really hear and understand what they need? And then speak to that in such a way that they can take it in. Albert Einstein says, any fool can complicate things. It takes a genius to simplify them. What I love about this methodology is it's not complicated. It's actually pretty straightforward and easy to understand right away. And in fact, it can be a little deceiving because you can think, oh, I get this. I get the 4 personality types. I've got it. But because it's a language, you might intellectually understand it, but more than likely you're not speaking it consistently out in the world. And so that's why we have this method, and that's why we are dedicated to helping people learn this at a deeper level. So I want to talk about the science behind this, because it wasn't just this fun little assessment that somebody just thought up one day. It is based in personality science, and ours are called Blueprint, Action, Nurturing, and Knowledge. It's based on Hippocrates' theory of the 4 temperaments, which he made famous in about 400 BC. He didn't invent it either, but he made it famous by treating his patients differently depending on what temperament they fell into. And probably most of you who are watching this have taken some kind of personality assessment. In fact, give Braden a yes in the comment section if you have taken a personality assessment, whether it was DISC, MBTI, Color Code, there's Strengths Finder, there's so many different ones. Type yes if you have taken one of these assessments. And I'm assuming that Braden is seeing the yeses flow in. And we often get asked, what is the difference between DISC and bank, for example, because DISC I know is a big one that has been used in real estate. In fact, there was a book written that talks about how DISC can be used in real estate. So if you take DISC, D-I-S-C, and you line it up with bank, B-A-N-K, we like to say they're exactly the same, only completely different. And it's the difference that's the game changer. While these other assessments are based in psychology or the psychology of learning all about who you are as a person, ours is based in biology, spelled B-U-Y, the science of buying behavior. We don't actually care if you're an introvert or an extrovert, for example, because that has nothing to do with what makes you say yes or what makes you say no in a sales conversation. We care about the triggers to a yes and the tripwires that might throw you into a no if we say the wrong thing. So this is our differentiator. This is what simplifies us and what focuses us in on the sales conversation versus a psychological profile about yourself. It's really about the other person. How can you identify what the other person cares about quickly and easily so you can meet them where they are? And this is the biggest mistake that most of us tend to make, is we go around speaking from our primary personality type. And if science has shown that there are 4 different personality types out there, and you're speaking from your primary, that means that 1 out of 4 times you're delivering the right script. And 3 out of 4 times you're delivering the wrong script, which means you're not only losing the sale of that person, but you're also losing their whole referral market, right? Because we get our business through referrals. I know in real estate you do. So you're losing the referral market, and you're spoon feeding your competition at a rate of 3 to 1. Because if they need your services, but they don't choose you, they're going to go with someone else. So you actually are better at helping your competition get business than you are at getting business for yourself when you're only speaking one language, when you only have one presentation, and you stick in that code all the time. I also want to let you know that this particular method has been taught at Harvard University School of Business, and San Francisco State University did a research study on this in 2016, and they asked a couple questions. Number one, is this just a copycat of some other personality assessment that's already out there on the market, or is it unique? And number two, does it actually predict buying behavior? And it was determined that indeed it does predict buying behavior. In fact, it is the only methodology in the world scientifically validated to predict buying behavior in less than 90 seconds. And now we have a brand new tool that can predict it in nanoseconds. And we're going to share that with you today as well. So how many of you have watched the Da Vinci Code, the movie? Type yes in the comments if you've seen the movie, The Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks. So he runs around Europe trying to find the secret to the Holy Grail. All right. And it is locked up inside this device called a cryptex. This device is booby trapped. If you put the wrong code into this device, the piece of paper that's inside that holds the secret is wrapped around a vial of vinegar. That vial of vinegar breaks, dissolving the piece of paper, leaving you with nothing. So I want you to think back to a time where you were having a conversation with a prospect, and there was that one moment where maybe you just said the wrong thing. You looked at them funny, they looked at you funny, you realized, oops, that didn't come out quite right. You broke the vial of vinegar and you lost the sale. I'm sure we've all been there at some time or another. But what if you knew exactly what to say to unlock this device, pull out a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper is written the exact words of how to get a yes instead of a no? How many of you would want to know what that code is? Type code in the comments. If you'd like to know the code that is the code to get a yes instead of a no, type code in the comments. I think all of us want that code. This is the bank code. We call it the bank code. And we talk about cracking the personality code so you can take it to the bank. You can get more yeses. And obviously, that's going to help more people, and it's going to drive your bottom line. So there are only 4 factors that impact how much you sell. And I think some people are surprised by this. But according to Sales Velocity, I'm going to share with you, it's called the Sales Velocity equation. And this is actually comes from salesforce.com. Okay. The sales velocity equation has 4 factors. The first is the number of sales opportunities that you work, or the number of prospects that you speak with. The second is the average deal value, or what is the income you're going to make per sale, average, okay? The third is the win rate, or this is how many of them say yes versus no. And then on the bottom of this equation is the length of the sales cycle, or how long does it take from the time you meet them and they say, I'm interested in using your services, to the time where the sale closes and you receive your commission check. Okay, what's that length of sales cycle? So in this equation, if you increase everything on the top of the equation by 10% and you decrease the bottom by 10%, I want you to ask yourself, we talk about here with CodeBreaker Technologies, we talk about helping you increase your sales by up to 300%. And really what that speaks to is the 4 personality types. And if you only speak one personality type, then you have a 25% chance, correct? But if you speak 2 personality types, you increase your chance by 100%, because now you speak 2 languages. If you speak 3 languages, you increase your chance by 200%. And if you speak all 4 languages, you increase your chance of closing the sale by 300%, because now you speak all 4, okay? I don't even want to go to 300%. 300% seems like really big number. And most people, especially if you're a knowledge or a blueprint type, you're rolling your eyes and you're thinking, yeah, okay, Stephanie, 300%, prove it. But what if you could just increase your sales by 10%? Does 10% feel doable? If you had a solid sales training, a solid communication training, do you think you might be able to just increase your numbers by 10%? And if you do, I want to show you the power of what 10% will do for you. So here's an example. Just to give round numbers, if you were to speak to 100 leads in a month, and let's say you earn $1,000 every time they say yes, and you close at a 20% close rate, so 22 out of 10 of them are saying yes, and it takes you about 10 days to close a sale. Okay, I know this is not a realistic for real estate, but we need to just use round numbers for now. Okay, that is a $2,000 sales velocity number. Now, if you were to increase the top by 10% and decrease the bottom by 10%, so you see the math on the left there, that actually translates into almost a $3,000 sales velocity number, which means by changing 10% in this equation, you actually create a velocity of 47%. And sorry, my little PowerPoint jumped way ahead for a second. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. There we go. 47% increase in your sales velocity. That's huge. That's leverage. That's what we call leverage. So I want to show you, we're going to show you how Bank actually can apply to these different areas of the sales velocity equation to help you create this velocity and create leverage in your business. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jane, who's going to walk us through the method.
Hello, everybody. So let's go to, so there are 4 codes. There's blueprint, action, nurture, and knowledge. The first one I'm going to talk about is blueprint. And blueprint people tend to think inside the box. Think about a police officer. They're all about the rules and regulations, and they are risk averse. So their trigger is if you are going to be conservative and you're going to follow the rules and you're not going to promote anything that isn't true. They'll be turned off if you are going to be you know what? I'm a bit nervous doing this. They're going to be turned off if you suggest something that's maybe not lawful or that you exaggerate at all. And their number 1 trigger, the reason why they're going to work with you is because they want to stay in budget. And to be honest, I had a blueprint seller the other day and I totally blew it. And I basically told them good advice. I told them that if they felt that they wanted to get more money out, if they spent about $10,000 on replacing the carpet and painting their house, that they would probably get about $100,000. And that is true. But because they're risk averse, they decided not to go with me. So this is a powerful lesson. Do you want to go to the next slide? So when you're doing your marketing, you can appeal to blueprint, action, knowledge, or nurture people by the type of text that you're using in your marketing. So this one is about timing. It's all about the process. And the picture is a very conservative picture, being sitting in front of a computer. And so that would attract blueprint buyers. Okay, let's go to the next one. Action. These people tend to think outside the box. So the first one thought inside the box. These people think outside the box. So they do not like to be hemmed in. If you want to turn off an action person, you say, let's meet next Tuesday at 10 a.m. They'll be like, I don't know if I want to.
Hey, Jane, you said action. Do you need something?
Awesome.
Oh, sorry.
High action.
Okay, sorry.
So I don't know if you know, but Braden likes to name drop, but that is a characteristic of a high action person. They like the red carpet treatment. They will drive a really nice car, like a Tesla. And their commodity is all about lifestyle. They want to smooth it, no roughing it for them. And their number one buying trigger is having a celebrity endorsement. So if you sell them on an area in Victoria and it's going to be someplace where somebody famous lives, they're going to love that. Okay, next. So this is a marketing that I did for an action. So this, when I got this picture taken with my blueprint photographer, she was totally turned off by this picture, but I have gotten so much positive response.
It's the shoes, Jane. The shoes are what make this action so action. Like, I love those shoes.
So the action people tend to turn off blueprints because they speak too quickly. They're all about doing things fast. They want to skip the process. And so you have to be careful when you're an action person and you're presenting to a blueprint client. All right, next. So nurturers, they like to recycle the box. Typically when they walk into a home, they're like, oh, this feels really good. And they'll use words like, this resonates with me, or, you know, I'm sensing. It's all about the five senses. They are all about sunshine and hearts and loving on people. They will give you a hug at the end of their meeting with you, even if you just met them. And their buying trigger is donating to a good cause. And as you know, in REMAX, we do support the Children's Miracle Network. So they would love that. If you want to turn off a nurturer, you can be inauthentic. You can exaggerate. You can be untruthful. You will, and once you turn off a nurturer, you will never win them back because they won't trust you. So for a nurturer, trust is important. Let's go to the advertising. So this is all about taking care of their needs. And you can see like it's warm and fuzzy. And the color of a nurturer is yellow because it's like sunshine, warmth, and, you know, feeling good. So I have high nurturer in my personality as well. Okay, knowledge is the fourth code. So these people like to engineer the box. They're all about cutting edge technology. They would like to know whether or not it's a lead home. They shake hands like this. No, they really don't, but they like information, so they're very logical. They will research for the sake of researching, even if they don't like the home. And they're the type of people where they'll go on the property because they have to know something, even if they don't have permission to go on the property. So they'll like walk the property, and then they'll text you, is it okay if I'm on the property? Well, no, it's not okay. But they are also triggered by budget. But the difference is a blueprint is seeing outside the box as being risky, and knowledge is seeing spending too much money is not making too much sense. Often these people come across as a bit cold because they're very factual and they want people to be very truthful with them. So let's just go to the advertising. So these people, both them and the blueprint, both like the knowledge. They like the fact that you've won an award and that you're at the top of your game and you're expressing your confidence as well as your expertise in a field. So this type of ad would appeal to them. It's very conservative. So my experience with Bankcode and CODEBREAKER technology was I went to a conference in 2015 with Stephanie, and We went to the training in October, and I think that's when you decided to become a managing director. We were talking about it. And
Yeah.
I went back, we went to the training, and I went back in January, and I took extensive training, and I went from 37 transactions or 35 transactions to 67 transactions in 1 year. And I more than doubled my income. So it was a big breakthrough for me, actually, just because I realized that even though I'm comfortable with the way that I'm communicating with other people, they're not necessarily comfortable listening to how I'm communicating. So I've really worked on being more responsive to what a client's needs are so that I can speak their language and help them make decisions more effectively. And I think probably the biggest factor really has been the reduction of the days on market for sellers, as well as lessening the days on that I'm working with a buyer, because they tend to make decisions more effectively because I'm providing them with the information more quickly.
That's awesome, Jane. And weren't you also on a television show where you had to like pitch yourself to people? And
yeah, there were 4 realtors, and they had to pick the realtor that they wanted to work with. And almost always when I went back and analyzed why I wouldn't get it, if we did, I think we were on 5 shows, it was usually because the seller was a blueprint, and that's
your lowest.
My lowest. Yeah. So I am I'm an AKNB, an ANKB, but I'm really high A.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Jane. So here's a good question for everybody based on what you know so far. Could you type in, if you had to pick one, if you had to pick a primary personality type, which one feels more like you? The blueprint, which is inside the box, risk adverse, budget conscious, plans ahead, always shows up early to things, or action, outside the box, don't tell me what to do, lifestyle oriented, no budget, spends when I need to spend, get the high end, everything. Nurture, which is relationship oriented. Commodity is relationships. Actually, it's all about nurturing people. It's about recycling the box. It's about developing authentic connections with people before they make buying decisions. Or knowledge type, which is information driven. They want to do business with the experts. They're very logic driven. They, they can be very techie. They can be, ask a lot of questions before they say yes to something. So, just type in what you think your primary personality, and I'm getting some different responses, would be. And then I just want to say, we are all 4. That's why we have a bank code and not just a personality type. And because we have all 4, there are actually 24 combinations of this code. And the first 2 of the codes are the triggers to a yes. So I'm an action nurture. So if you speak action nurture, action nurture, action nurture to me, I'm almost always a yes. My tripwires are my 3rd and 4th position, knowledge and blueprint, at least in the initial conversation. Now, I may eventually go to my knowledge and blueprint in the sales decision, but if you have just met me and you're just starting to share your product or service with me, if you lead with knowledge and blueprint with me, you're going to tripwire me into a no, because I'm going to say to myself, that's too much information and you are too rule driven or too structured in your presentation to me. And I'm much more flexible and want to just have fun and want to just connect and hear stories. So it's not just what to say, but it's what not to say that makes a difference. And you really only have a 1 in 24 chance of getting it right, a 4.17% chance of getting it right just by speaking your own code everywhere you go. This is why the sales is a numbers game myth has persisted out there, is because we don't really have a great chance if we're not adjusting our communication. So how do we crack our full prospects code? Because sometimes I come across people who are like, I'm intuitive. I understand why people are different, and I automatically shift how I communicate with people. And I'm sure that is true. And it's probably their primary personality type that you're picking up on. And so you're shifting to their primary, but you don't know their full code. You don't understand that there are some things that could also tripwire them into a no. So it is important that you know the whole thing, not just the primary. But how can we do this quickly and easily? Because we're not going to have everybody sit down and take a 45-minute personality assessment. I mean, you could, but that would be kind of weird, right? Like, hi, nice to meet you. Can you take this 45-minute assessment before we get started? Like, yeah, it's just not going to work. It has to be quick and easy. So this is where our bank value cards come into play. And these are 4 little plastic cards that you keep in your jacket pocket or your purse or your car or your wallet. And you take them out when you need them, especially in in-person interactions. I know we're a little limited right now with the whole COVID thing going on. So I'll give you another tool for that. These cards are fantastic. These are icebreakers. They're great at networking events. I've actually sat down at a networking table and had the person next to me crack her code, and then she passed it to the person next to her. And then next thing you know, by the time lunch is over, the whole table has cracked their code and they've gotten to know each other better. And I've gotten to know who they are. And now I know how to speak their language. The research says that if you know their primary code, you increase the chance of closing the sale by 22%. But if you know the full code, it increases the chance by 75%. So would you rather have a 22% or a 75% chance? And the best way to do it with 100% accuracy is to have them tell you what their code is instead of you having to guess. And it's actually the most authentic thing you can do for someone is to meet them where they are, to say, listen, I want to make sure I'm giving you the best possible customer service. This takes less than 90 seconds. And once you do it, then I will be able to serve you. Right? And that is authenticity at its finest. Meet people where they are, give them the respect of meeting them and speaking their language, not assuming that they understand what you're talking about when you speak your own. So let me give you the other solution. If these cards do not work right now because we can't meet in person, we did invite you all to experience this tool for free, and it's called Bank Pass, and it helps you crack codes online. So it's an electronic version of these cards, and it's on a website. It's our lead generation technology, and I'm going to show you some ideas on how you can use this to generate leads for yourself. So you shuffle these cards online, and then what happens after you submit is you get a bank code personality report. So it tells you all about your particular code. It gives you communication tips. It tells you some of your strengths, and it tells you some of where you might have some challenge areas regarding your communication. And this is a gift you can give people, okay? So it's a great way to just get to know people and also give them something for free, and they remember you. They're like, oh my gosh, Jane was that real estate agent who cracked my personality code, and I got this report about myself and learned about myself. And then we also get a report. The person who has this subscription, is a subscription service, okay? We get a report about them. And this report is slightly different in the sense that this is how to speak to that person the next time you get on the phone with them or the next time you meet for coffee with them. So it is the script inside that cryptex. Remember, we crack the cryptex open, we pull out the piece of paper with what to say and what not to say to get the yes instead of the no. That's what this document is. It's that piece of paper inside the cryptex. When they crack their code, now you know what to lead with and what to avoid. And you get an online dashboard. All this information gets uploaded into a CRM system, which you can export and put into anything else that you're using, whatever system you're using to track your contact information. But it's a great place to house the data and also remind you what their codes are at a glance.
But there's more.
But there's more. You can get your free report if you haven't done it yet. Okay. And I'm sure there's people that are going to be watching this recording and they want to just check this out. Like, what is this report? What does it look like? So go here, go to crackmycode.com/personality. Is that right, Jane?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you can get your free report. All right. So it's our gift to you. So I want to show you some examples of how you can use this. Now, I'm a speaking coach, okay? So I'm just going to give you a couple examples that I use it. And then I also have one real estate example, and we can kind of talk about, maybe Jane has some ideas of other ways she has used the Bank Pass subscription.
And We also have something fun to do at the end.
Yes, we do. We have it. We're going to quiz you to see what you've learned on this presentation. So I'm always excited to see what people came back with. All right. What kind of speaker are you? Take this 90-second assessment and receive tips based on your personality type. And I have like the action speaker, spontaneous, exciting, the knowledge speaker, educated, thoughtful, detail-oriented, a nurture speaker who's authentic and connecting, and then a blueprint speaker, organized, prepared, right? So I'm using different graphics based on the personality type and inviting them to crack their code to receive tips. This is just a potential real estate version. You know, can you eat off the garage floor, or is the garage going to eat you? Getting ready to sell your home but feel daunted by the task? Take this 90-second personality assessment. I'll send you my top 5 tips to organize your home and get it ready for an open house in 7 days or less. So potential way to do that. I hope everyone is networking. If it's virtual networking or in-person networking as a real estate agent, I hope that's a great way for you to meet people and get referral partners and potential clients. So I also use the networking angle in my business. And what kind of networker are you? Take this assessment and get free networking tips. Okay, so that's just another.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, absolutely, Jane.
I think even more important now, because we're doing a lot of stuff online, is that it's important so much to listen to what our clients are saying, and there are keywords they're going to be using. And if you're not face to face, and people talk about the amount of energy it goes into Zoom because you're trying to pay attention, really you need to be listening, and using this system helps you listen more effectively.
Yes, absolutely. Another way that I crack codes as a lead generation is I offer something for free on my website. So maybe there is a gift that you can offer, informational gift of some kind, PDF, free class, free educational webinar that you can give for home buyers or sellers. And when they click on that free class, they fill out a short form. And one of the questions is to crack their bank code in 90 seconds or less. So that's the other way that I use it. And then I also use it. Here's in-person networking on the left. Not only did I use the value cards in my networking, but then I also used a feature on my phone, which is artificial intelligence. So you can actually have someone speak into your phone, and then you can hit the button and it decrypts the code of what they just said. So in the case on the left here, I asked this gentleman to talk about himself for 20 seconds into my phone. This was after I had cracked his code with the cards. And then when I hit decrypt, the bar graph came back exactly the same. He's an A, K, and B. He's the red, green, yellow, blue. And his red bar was the highest. His green was the second highest. So what he said about himself into my phone completely matched what he had done with the value cards. And it was a great icebreaker. We ended up having these really great conversations that day at that conference I was at. And it led to other connections. And on the right, I don't know if anyone ever does expos, but I had an expo table at this event. And what I do is I have little gifts on my table, but you can only get a gift if you crack your bank code. So I have sets of cards on my expo table, and it takes less than 90 seconds. I write down their bank code on their business card so that I can follow up with them in their bank code. And then they get to open up one of the boxes, and they're called voice boxes because I'm a singer. So I have a voice box. They open up the box. They get, they get free workshop tickets. I've even put $2 bills in there because I think $2 bills are kind of cool. Candy, different things, notebooks. So they actually get a gift, and that is a great way for me to create leads at a live event. So hopefully in 2021, we'll be able to go back to live events again. So let me talk a little bit more about this AI. But the AI is really a tool to help you learn about your client before you meet with them. So if you, for whatever reason, you can't meet in person, you can't use the cards, you don't want to send the bank pass link out for whatever reason, you don't have the opportunity to, you can do research on people online and crack their code with the CodeBreaker AI. So I'm going to show you how we can do that. And by the way, this AI was debuted at the United Nations AI Summit last year. They invited Sherry, who's on the right, she's our founder of our company, to come back to this year's United Nations AI Summit, which of course got postponed because of COVID. So there are some really amazing people that are backing this AI that we have developed and released in the fall of last year. And Forbes wrote an article about artificial intelligence in sales, and they talk about our program. We have an article that we can share if people want more information about that. Let me show you some practical applications of the AI. So my friend has the artificial intelligence. She sent me an email, but before she hit send, she ran the copy of her email through the AI, and she realized that she had written the email in her own code. She's a nurture knowledge blueprint action. And she said, oops, I know that's not Stephanie's code. So she used the tool of AI to help recraft her email message to my code, which she knew was ANKB. And she recrafted it. Because she's high enough K, she also said, oh, I want to capture the bar graphs before I send this to Stephanie. So she rewrote the email, sent it to me, and then she sent me the bar graphs. And she said, look, Stephanie, I used the tool the way it's supposed to be used. And I said, thank you so much. You've created an example I can share in my presentations. So these are the actual bar graphs of the email she sent me. And I could tell that the email she sent me that she had actually thought of me, thought of who I am as a person and how I like to be spoken to. And I really appreciated that. Sometimes people say, well, isn't that inauthentic to not speak your own code? I'm like, no, actually, it's the most authentic thing you can do is to allow yourself to be where the other person is and to really step into their shoes, look through their lens and have empathy for who they are. That's when I feel seen and heard, right? When someone actually speaks my language, I feel heard.
When recently I was doing the Bankcode training, so it's going to be offered again in September, but I was doing the training, and one of the assignments was to write an email to somebody in their code. And the person I wrote it to, everything I wrote was true, but I wrote it in their code, and they were so appreciative of it.
Oh,
It's really
amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new way of sending a thank you letter, right? Don't just send a thank you letter based on what you think you'd want to hear, but you send a thank you letter based on what they want. You know what they want to hear, right? And that can make a huge difference in your referrals too. We have a brand new Google Chrome extension for our company that allows you with one click, once you install it, it allows you with one click to decrypt someone's LinkedIn profile. And it decrypts it, gives you the bank code of profile, and it also pulls in all the data in one click into your BCRM. So all that data gets pulled in. On the left is the bar graph of my LinkedIn profile before I use the CodeBreaker AI technology. And then I realized, okay, it's leading nurturing. So do you know what you're saying? Do you know what you're putting out there with your marketing? Do you know who you're attracting? Is it intentional or is it accidental? Because I actually do attract a lot of nurturers into my business. And so sometimes I want to lead nurturing in my marketing. But in this case, I wanted to go ahead and have it reflect my authentic code. So I recrafted it to be my authentic code. So I'm an ANKB. So now my copy on my profile actually reflects my authentic code. But in my marketing, sometimes I will intentionally write the marketing copy to be nurturing. And the way that I check it is with the AI to make sure that it actually is attracting the nurturing personality type. And then I went ahead and did Jane's. I told Jane yesterday, I said, Jane, you got to rewrite your LinkedIn profile. Go ahead, Jane.
You're saying so high blueprint, and I am not blueprint. No wonder.
I was like, oh, it says you're nurture blueprint, Jane. Is that right?
So it really was just a matter of turning things around, the order in which you say things, and the keywords. That's what the AI is looking for. So it maybe took me 10 minutes to do that. And actually it was probably a good exercise anyway to rewrite it. So
yeah, absolutely. So now it's your ANKB. And I think your copy is probably even more even than mine because the bar graphs are not so far apart from each other. Whereas I actually probably need to go back and add a little more blueprint knowledge to mine so that they're not so far apart. But I'll have to go back and do that when I have a little more time. But yeah, this helps you also see how much in relativity, to how much action compared to your nurture, compared to your knowledge. So when would you use CodeBreaker AI? And it's pretty much all the time. So your emails, incoming and outgoing emails, text messages you receive, voice to text. So if you want to practice, I like to practice what I'm going to say at networking events, and I'll speak it into my phone and I'll say, who does that attract? Oh, okay. Let me say it this way. Who does that attract? Oh, okay. So it's a great tool for practicing how you talk about yourself and your business. Social media messages, website can be redone with AI, LinkedIn profile, social media marketing posts, blogs, book chapters. I know people that have written books and have actually run chapters through the AI just to see what's the code of that chapter. Your bio, wherever your bio resides, your resume, flyers and postcards. I mean, I think I'm covering just about anything that's actually written down. Yes, Jane?
Do people write in the same code as their personality?
It depends on where they are. So I'm an ANKB, and we teach that A is how you show up in the world. So I dress like an A. I have the energy of an A. Nurturing can be how I communicate. That's my second. That can be how you communicate. So I tend to write really nurturing because that's my second code. My third code is my stress code. So usually I will go into K when I'm stressed out. I'll start researching things. I'll start analyzing. I will get technical in my writing. Then you'll know I'm stressed out because I'm in my K. And then blueprint is, kind of what we avoid. It's like what we resist. So I resist structure. I resist planning. I resist processes. So that's why it's fourth. So it depends on where you are in your code, because we can shift between our codes. I can be super action at times when I write and then go into nurturing. If I get into my heart space, and if I'm stressed out, I'll write like a K. So, what's nice about the AI is that we don't have to guess where you are. I don't have to guess what mood Jane is in when she sent me her email. I can just run her email through the AI and I can say, oh, Jane right now is super high K. Okay, good to know. Then when I respond, I can respond in K because she wrote it to me and I figured it out because I ran it through the AI. And so now I'm going to meet her where she is all the time.
And like during COVID-19, my third code is N. So my nurturing came out big time. That's why I was doing everything I could to help people, because I wanted to support them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My husband is the same way. His nurture is his stress code. And he really, in the last couple months, has been very protective of the family and making sure everybody he's like the one to say, put away your phones. We need to talk to each other at dinner time, that kind of stuff. Like, he really gets nurturing. He wants to connect. So it just depends on where you are in the moment. All right, so I have a quiz. So you have to type in the comments, all right? I want you to identify the client who this would apply to, okay? So as a real estate agent, if you're saying, don't call me overpaid just because I sold your home fast, that's exactly what you wanted. Which code is the most likely to want to cut corners around their budget and try to sell their home, or get upset that Jane made $20,000 in commission off of one sale and it only took 2 weeks to sell my house? And now I'm like, did you really earn that money? Which personality type is the most likely to be like that? So Braden says blueprint. Any other guesses? Anybody else out there listening in?
Didn't take much effort, so I'm thinking you didn't really have to delve in deep into their
there's a skepticalness, and one of the codes is definitely skeptical. So yes, you're right. You're both right. Blueprint. Blueprint is the one who's like, really, 2 weeks, 20 grand? Come on. All right, what about this one? I noticed the for sale by owner sign in your yard. I too like to live dangerously. Which code likes to live dangerously? Which code is a risk taker?
You're saying action.
Yeah, which code is going to do this, try to sell their house because they also, it's the dough piece. Like, in their mind, they think maybe they can sell it faster than anybody else. That's action. For sure. All right, how about this one? You've been asking me questions for 2 hours on a Sunday. Then you tell me you already have a realtor. Which personality type asks a lot of questions and is budget conscious
Knowledge.
and may have a strategy to get all the information out of you on a Sunday so they can go figure it out for themselves. Knowledge.
You know, when we went through the training the first time, I remember sitting at the front and Sherry was explaining knowledge and how when people research cars, that they research and research and research. And then when the new, so it takes a whole year, the new car comes out and they have to go right back to number one. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, then now they're assured that they made the right decision. They're like, yes, that was the right decision. Knowledge types don't like to make mistakes. That's why they ask so many questions, and that's why they research, because that's their biggest pain point, is that they might make a mistake. So they have to feel like they're 100% correct.
Yeah,
so
and they
if you
don't like to look stupid.
They don't want to look stupid. And so you just want to answer the questions that they ask you. You just want to do everything you can to provide the information that they're asking for. Don't give them any more than they need, because they might already know it, and then you'll offend them. Like, what do you think, I'm stupid? Of course I know that already. But if you just answer the questions they ask, you will shorten the sales cycle.
Yeah, and don't bring in new data. That'll totally
Yeah.
piss them off. Yeah.
Yeah, new data. Yeah, because then they have to factor that into their whole equation. They have to like reset the whole thing. How about this one? Fetching your dream home, like, got it. This is kind of a combination of two codes, but I was trying to find one that.
Yes, we know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nurturing and it's action. But it's nurturing. It's the dog. It's the pet. Okay. And I'm sure there's lots of advertising, you know, when you position about the community, like, be a part of this community, or can you picture yourself and your kids in this house, or the comfort of this particular house, or the way you'll be able to spend family time together in this backyard, or look at the beauty of the nature surrounding this house and how you'll be able to really, you know, connect to your emotions and maybe have a meditation room here. And like, all of this is nurturing angle, right?
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
So it's just important to know that couples, usually opposites attract, as we all know. And so you're really going to have to pay attention to both partners who are making the decision, or perhaps there's a decision maker you didn't realize who was in the mix, like a parent or whatever, and just realizing very quickly how you're going to meet their needs at the same time. So part of what we're going to be talking about in our next thing that we're going to offer up is how to work with multiple people at one time.
Yeah. Blueprints like to marry action types, and knowledge types like to marry nurture types. It's not all the time, but we've seen a trend. I'm an action married to a blueprint. I don't know, Jane, if you figured out yours.
I'm married to a knowledge.
Yes. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of combinations. And I know a lot of knowledge types also are attracted to nurtures. So maybe you were in your nurturing, you know, when your knowledge husband met you. So who knows? So there is, obviously, we just introduced this language. This is just the beginning, and hopefully you took away some good nuggets. You got some good notes down, and you understood the concepts. And because it's a language, I want you to think of like the Rosetta Stone, you know, series, where you need to like dive deep, and you need to listen to audios, and you need to start practicing skill sets and start to actually speak it with people. That is what is this vault bank. We call it Bank Vault. And what it is it's a series of over 50 hours of virtual interactive training platform, modules, unlimited access, tracking and accountability. There's audios you can download onto your phone. There's little short videos you can watch, and they test you. They actually play different videos depending on the answers you give, and it tracks. And it really just helps you practice this language so that you can start to speak it more consistently. So this series of training, plus the Bank Pass, plus the AI tools, all of this is all together in the same subscription. Okay, so you can crack as many codes as you want. You can decrypt all your marketing copy and email back and forth using AI, and do your cold outreach if you need to on social media using the AI, and learn all of this, including a real estate specific training. So we've developed a specific training for real estate agents, the top 10 strategies to unlock each real estate code. So if you want to dive into how do you work with a blueprint, action, nurture, knowledge in the real estate niche, that is also included on this training. And the entire subscription is $99 a month. That's US dollars. No contracts. It just goes month to month. You can try it for 30 days for $99 to dive in, take all the training you want, test the tools, go out there, practice and use it. And if you don't think it's worth it, then you can cancel after 30 days. So we recommend this as a bare minimum. Like at the bare minimum, you should have this subscription if you want to start to use this methodology to create results in your real estate business. If you want to go beyond that, if you'd like to work with Jane and I in person, virtually in person right now, live, to really dive into how to get your bank methodology into your real estate business, because Jane's the real estate expert and I'm the communication expert. So the two of us are going to make a power team. We want to work with people live because that's how we prefer to work, actually. We usually the first step for live training is to attend a bank fundamentals class in person for a full day. Usually we rent out a hotel somewhere and people come and they pay us $1,000 a person to spend the day with us and learn this training live in person. We can't do that right now. We can only go virtual. So we've decided to not only adjust it to be virtual, but we also decided to reduce the price down greatly because we know people are struggling right now. We know that the economy has taken a hit. So we're creating a lockdown bundle special. You can get 4 hours of virtual training with Jane and I on August 12th between 11 and 3 Pacific time for $399. And it includes the following. So it's not just the training, but we're going to give you 30 days of Explore. So that $99 subscription is included in the price. We're also going to give you a set of these physical cards so that you have them when we can start meeting people in person. You'll have them as a tool. We retail sell these for $20 US. And Jane has a stack of hardcover Why They Buy books, and she's going to mail you a book. This is a $40 value. If you go onto whytheybuy.com, it costs you $30 US to buy the book and $10 to ship it to you. So that's a $40 value right there that we will include in the bundle. And that is a total value of over $1,100. And we're just asking for $399 US for the whole package. Anything you want to add to that bundle, Jane?
If they want to talk to me, I'll give them a 15-minute discovery call so they can find out how I use it in my business and how I can help them in their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe even decrypt their bio for them, use the AI for them, show them what their bar graph is saying on their LinkedIn profile. That would be a good way to use it as well. So we're just inviting anyone who would like to take a next step with us to email Jane at BriarHillGroup@gmail.com. And you can sign up for just a subscription. You can sign up for the class with us and get that whole bundle, or you can just talk to Jane and ask questions and just get clarity on what might be a good next step for you. Jane and I are working together. I'm excited to work with her. And we also have another program that's starting in September, which is going to be like a 90-day full-on coaching program. So you'll learn more about that as it gets closer. But I'm excited to partner up with Jane because she's a rock star in the real estate world. And I absolutely love to do things together, partner, and you get like the interplay between people and get to connect in a different way. So I'm just excited to move forward and have this class in August, and we'll take questions. So does anybody have any questions? We're a little over the 1 hour time, but I'm happy to take any questions if there are any, Braden.
Yeah, I think Jane was answering many of them. She must have been monitoring the feed on another tab. Jane, how are you multitasking during a live stream like that? What's the secret?
She's in action.
I have my phone on.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Stephanie, is it okay if I pull down your slides now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. I was, one of the questions I know I had was well, how do you address people who are, like a couple? Because so much of our business is done with couples, and so I think you guys alluded to that. I'm really curious to hear more about the real estate applications of this. So I couldn't be more excited about the real estate track that's being launched and offered here today.
You're also developing a white paper. So
real estate white paper, yeah.
Yeah, so it's based on research and how BankCode works with real estate. I just want to say this has been very effective in working with couples. In fact, this whole program has been really effective in working with people in my family as well. So because it improves your communication overall.
When you say working in couples, you mean that I should use this with Mandy and I might have more success at home. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's funny. When I talked to Mandy a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, she's a blueprint nurturer.
Yeah, opposites do attract.
I had to give her some steps to follow.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
There we go. The action married the blueprint. There you go.
That's right. Well, I just want to say on behalf of everyone here, REMAX, Camosa, REMAX, and Nanaimo, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I loved how you were able to weave in and out of sort of the overall bank content, but also give some real estate specific examples and applications. I mean, I got to admit, if you told me that I was going to build a master, how many varieties was there? As you said, 4 times.
There's 24 combinations.
Oh my gosh, that gets my head spinning. But I can see clearly from Jane's results that it's worth the time investment. So anyone who's watching this either live now or after the fact, it's definitely something worth considering. So I hope everyone puts that, because we see these conferences and events for social media or marketing our new tech. Sometimes we forget that it's actually our words that are so critical when we're communicating with people.
It's a people business.
It really is a people business. And I think that's going to continue to be the case, particularly now more than ever with COVID and everything happening. And, some of the venues we have, like open houses or door knocking or big networking events, aren't available to us. So, even just the idea of writing an email crafted to, the specific person's code is like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's changed. I would say I'm way more sensitive than I used to be to people.
How the heck do I write a company memo that goes out to 200 people using this information? That's what gets my head spinning.
Yeah, you create balance. You have to make sure the bar graphs are close together.
Yeah, just an idea is when you onboard people is that you do have them do their bank code, and then when you're writing, you will know how you're.
That's such a good idea. Amy, if you're watching this, we need to add this to our onboarding system. All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much. You've been so generous with your time, your information, everything. So thank you, everyone. And have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching, guys.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you.